Pio Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. I'm Pio Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. Acting Chief Justice Antonio Carpio, Justice Secretary Laila De Lima, Solicitor General Francis Hardeleza, and several others accept their nominations for Chief Justice. The deadline for accepting nominations ends at 12 midnight. Malacanang says charter change is not among the president's priorities. A teacher caught on cell phone video hurting a student turns out to have other victims. The Department of Foreign Affairs confirms that abducted Filipino Glenn Costes and 3 others have been freed at the Somali-Kenyan border. 2 grenade and gun attacks on churches in Kenya kill 17 people and injures at least 60 others. Good evening, I'm Pio Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. The Supreme Court issues a status quo ante-order to stop a fixed salary scheme for bus drivers. The MMDA advises motorists to take alternate routes on day 2 of the yellow lane policy. Transport groups dismiss calls for lower jeepney fares as fuel prices increase by more than 1 peso per liter. Budget Secretary Butch Abad confirms the Liberal Party and the Nacionalista Party will join forces in the 2013 elections. And Cambodia steps up security as ASEAN foreign ministers meet to discuss regional issues. Good evening, I'm Pio Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. ASEAN leaders failed to come up with a joint communique to address territorial disputes in the West Philippine Sea as they conclude a week-long meeting in Cambodia. Malacanang says a visiting forces agreement between the Philippines and Australia will augment the country's security needs. The Quezon family says the burial of ace comedian Dolphy will be a private ceremony for family and friends. Former President Gloria Arroyo expresses a desire to spend a night in a wellness center in Tagaytay. And the country's top air carriers will lower their fuel surcharges for domestic flights beginning July 16. Good evening, I'm Pio Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. China's 30-vessel fleet casts fishing nets in the waters of the disputed Spratly Islands as the Department of Foreign Affairs warns Beijing to stay out of Philippine territory. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources says fishermen are now free to go back to the Scarborough Shoal. Congresswoman Gloria Arroyo's lawyer questions the plunder case filed against her as the former president seeks approval for medical treatment abroad. The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System raises water rates. And in Japan, over 100,000 people protest the activation of the nation's first nuclear reactor since the Fukushima crisis last year. Good evening, I'm Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. The Department of Foreign Affairs asserts the Philippines claims sovereignty over Kagitingan Reef, called Yongshu Reef by the Chinese. The Indonesian foreign minister visits the Department of Foreign Affairs today as part of his ASEAN tour to come up with a unified stand on the territorial dispute in the West Philippine Sea. A former member of the extraction team sent to Syria says the government has to pay expensive fees for the release of some overseas Filipino workers. The Social Security system plans to increase its members' contributions to 11%. And Japan reviews the sites of its nuclear reactor. Good evening, I'm Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. A Pasay court grants Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo's motion for bail for an electoral sabotage case. The Commission on Elections will file a motion for reconsideration on the bail granted to Congresswoman Arroyo. 6 more Chief Justice aspirants face the Judicial and Bar Council today for their public interviews. Malacanang says the COMELEC has enough savings to fund automated polls, despite the Commission's warning of manual elections if it doesn't get a bigger budget for 2013. And China holds a ceremony to mark the official establishment of Sansha City in the disputed West Philippine Sea. Good evening, I'm Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. Commuters in Metro Manila are stranded in the middle of heavy rains and flash floods. A wall collapses in Valenzuela City, killing 2 people and injuring 2 others. President Aquino considers asking the U.S. to deploy spy planes to monitor the disputed West Philippine Sea. The Judicial and Bar Council's final list of nominees for Chief Justice is down to 24 names. And a suicide bombing across Kandahar University in Afghanistan kills 7 civilians and injures 23 others. Good evening, I'm Hontiveros, and this is Solar Network News on TalkTV. And these are the solar headlines. China puts its naval might on display in Scarborough Shoal despite diplomatic attempts to end tensions over the contested waters. A bus hangs precariously from the Ortigas flyover along EDSA for several hours after plowing through a road railing. Authorities demolish a Korean floating restaurant in Taal Lake for failure to respond to a court order. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index posts a record high while the peso ends trading at its strongest against the US dollar in 4 years. And in western Japan, at least 20,000 people flee from rampaging floods.